Okay, James, I'm going to ask you and Dominic, because you left. I want a question.
Yep.
Okay.
Poor Jimmy. Poor Jimmy.
I picked on you, too. You just left the room.
Stand up.
I have several questions. Number one, what do you think of the recent reappointment of Bernanke as Federal Reserve Chairman?
I already told you that.
We heard that already.
Okay, you're not getting a yay on that one.
The question is, what do you want in the next Federal Reserve Chairman, if not Bernanke? Number one.
First of all, look, Ben Bernanke has done a horrific job as Fed chairman. Right? He has done everything wrong. What the Federal Reserve is supposed to do is stand up to Washington and to not just simply be an engine of inflation. The Fed should impose discipline on the federal government. The Fed should refuse to monetize all this debt. The Fed should refuse to bail out Wall Street. We should have a responsible interest rate policy and sound money. The Fed should be protecting the value of the dollar, not bailing out politicians and Wall Street bankers. But, I wouldn't have voted to reconfirm him. The problem is, had we not confirmed Ben Bernanke, it's possible that we might have got somebody even worse. Because I'm sure if there is someone who could do a worse job, President Obama would find him and put him in there. But maybe he could have put. If he could have put the reason that the economy did so well during the 1980s is because of the policies of Ronald Reagan and Paul Volcker. Because we had a Fed chairman who was independent, who raised interest rates when it wasn't popular, and a politician who stood behind him. That's what we need now. Unfortunately, we've got the exact polar opposite in Ben Bernanke and Barack Obama, which is why the next 10 years are going to look nothing like the 1980s.
You can't be done.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that David did it. Oh, my. That's right.
One, I want to thank you for mentioning the Constitution. I haven't heard that from Simmons very much. Or
well, he does carry one around in his pocket. I don't know if he's ever actually looked inside. Well, to put his tea bag, he looks in. Yeah.
My question is, people have made comments concerning your investment strategy. You mainly invest in countries in Europe and Central Asia. People have referred to that as being unpatriotic. Could you please address that?
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, my job as an investment advisor is to try to protect the wealth of my clients, try to get them to have a good return. And unfortunately, I understand as an economist that the policies out of Washington are destroying investment opportunities in the United States. The policies of the Federal Reserve are debasing the value of the dollar. I know that the further out in time we go, the less the dollar is going to buy. Therefore, people investing in dollar-denominated assets are going to lose wealth. I also know that the government is passing rules and regulations and taxes that are diminishing the profitability and the productivity of American businesses. There are other countries around the world that aren't doing that. So as an investor looking for the best return, I find opportunities outside the United States far more compelling. And I think central bankers in other countries are not acting as irresponsibly as ours. Now, as a senator, what I want to do is work to change those policies so that America can be a better place to save and invest. Right now, it's not. Right now, I know that if I simply tell my clients to keep their money in America out of patriotism, they're going to go broke. And I don't see anything patriotic in poverty. And I think the best thing that I can do for this country is to help my clients protect their wealth so that eventually, when we do the right thing, we can bring that wealth home. In the meantime, I'm helping my clients exchange dollars that may soon be worthless to buy real assets in other countries, real assets that bring dividend income into the United States for Americans, that help reduce our current account deficit. So the more real wealth I can put in the hands of Americans and the more dollars I can stick with foreigners, the better, because they're going to collapse. Does that answer your question?
Okay. We're past 9. I still have a little bit of business to do, so you can't actually leave. Is there any other questions for Peter?
I actually do have one more, if I could.
Wrap it up, please.
Congressman from Florida, Alan Grayson, I believe. He was the congressman recently who was on the floor of the Congress saying that Republicans just want people to die.
Yes.
In reference to the health care. And I've been told that you've donated money to his campaign in the past.
How did you know that?
I do a lot of reading.
Yeah. Alan Grayson and I go way back. He's been a client of mine for almost 15 years. And he's a friend of mine. My kids have played with his kids. So, and he's only won for office once. So I only gave him money one time when he called me up and asked me for it as a friend. He was running for Congress. Could I donate to his campaign? Now, I know Alan Grayson as a real bleeding heart liberal because I argue with him quite often over the years about politics. But he is very smart on some things. He's actually a very, he's a brilliant guy, despite the fact that he's got a lot of things wrong. And he co-sponsored with Ron Paul, who I also contributed to, the audit the Fed bill. So, and he is a very harsh critic of the Federal Reserve, and he's a very harsh critic of a lot of the bailouts and a lot of things. So I don't disagree with Alan Grayson on everything. But I contributed to him once as a friend, and when he had votes, when he voted for cap and trade, I called him up and I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And and privately, you made a few good points. And he is a classic limousine liberal, and I argue with him all the time. And we'll see. Maybe I can sway his opinion, but I contributed to him more out of loyalty and out of friendship than out of ideology. And I figured, look, Congress is doing a lousy job anyway. I mean, it's just, I'm sure they were going to elect a Democrat down there, so it might as well be someone I know than someone I don't know. But he's the only the Democrat I've ever written a check to, and he's probably the only one that ever asked me. But anybody else, I probably wouldn't have written it.
Okay, Peter, what I'm going to ask you is, if and when you're someplace else, I have a feeling this crowd's going to want to listen to you again, and those who weren't here tonight are going to wish they were. So please keep me posted. I'll talk to your guys back there.
The best thing you can do if you want to keep tabs on where I'm going to be, if you go to my Senate campaign website, which is schiffforsenate.com, there is a calendar there, and all of my upcoming appearances are there, so you can see where I'm going to be. And of course, that's a good website to go to if you want to get more information about my campaign. You certainly can spend some time if it's a snowy afternoon and you want some entertainment. Go to Google, put in Peter Schiff, or go to YouTube and put in Peter Schiff. There are hundreds and hundreds of recordings of me giving speeches, giving lectures on television. You can go back and actually see what I said and when I said it. I do have a couple of books out. As I said, Crash Proof. I revised it recently. Crash Proof 2.0. You can read that book, and just imagine, what it would be like to have somebody like me in Congress. Because right now there's nobody like me there, and so you can do a lot of research to see, the things that I've written and the things that I've said over the years. And I have an opinion on just about every issue, and it's all online. It's all there.
All right.
Thank you.